And welcome back to JKLive here at Citizen Television, here with two distinguished gentlemen. The chairman of the National Cohesion and Integration Commission, Reverend Dr. Samuel Kobia, and former Cabinet Secretary Dalmas Otieno. We're talking about a report that just came out literally days ago by the NCIC, talking about ethnic balance in the counties, or is it imbalance? Reverend Doctor, you're laughing when I say that, and I have to ask you the question. What is the formula that was used to get this so-called balance? What was the formula?
You see, what we did is in fulfilling one of our mandate as a commission is to see how integrated, how inclusive counties are. Because according to the Constitution 2010, Kenya is supposed to have to be an inclusive society.
And we're not.
We have a diversity, according to, there are many diversities,
yes,
ethnic, etc. And for us, ethnic is the most important because this is part of our mandate. And therefore, what we did was immediately the governors were sworn in. I wrote it to each of them and told them that according to the Constitution and the law, when you are considering employment, make sure you comply with the 30% rule. The 30% rule is that in the employment you have, of course, we have to establish the countries, at what level. Mm-hmm. Then the dominant ethnic community should not have more than 70%.
Which did not turn out to be the case, was it?
Absolutely.
It didn't turn out.
No, it didn't.
It didn't.
Only 13 counties complied.
13 out of 47?
Yes.
What does that say about us?
Well, Jeff, first of all, we have to give the broader context. The broader context is Kenya is in competition with the rest of the world in performance, in productivity, in creativity. We are in competition with the rest of the world. So when we set this rule of 30% requirement for each of the counties, we wanted our county to have an idea of what the rest of Kenya is in terms of people with the capacity, experience, and orientation towards enhancing our national competitiveness against the rest of the world. So, but a number of counties in the last 10 years, only 13 have complied. They may have complied for some good reasons, but not in satisfaction of the objective. The counties that did not apply still see employment as a political achievement, just employment, while our intention is they should be seeing the collective performance of the Republic, the collective competitiveness of the Republic against the rest of the world. Because if we don't go against the rest of the world, as everybody is aware now, Jeff, Kenya is importing too much. Why are we importing too much? Because we are just employing people, and we are taking pride in employing people without any performance measurement, employing people as a political objective. Now, that is a very short-run way of looking at things. We should look at these things in terms of our long-run objectives as a country which has the potential not only to take the leadership in Africa, but to get the recognition from the rest of the world. Okay,
so Reverend Doctor, let me come back to your report. And does that mean that those counties that didn't comply, does that mean that they're tribal, or for lack of a better word, are they just tribal?
Not necessarily, Jeff. I say not necessarily because while, of course, we can see that, Bomet, which we mentioned earlier on, 97% of those that have been employed by the county belong to one ethnic community. Now, what we are saying is that you, Governor, and also the county public service authority, you have not looked at the Constitution, you have not complied with what the Constitution says. And therefore, while we know that in employment, you have taken care of those that you are closer to you. And that's why I think, as Waziri is saying, many of those who have not complied look at employment as a political tool, let me put it that way. Mm. And there is a lot of patronage in this because what they are looking for is the next elections, who is going to vote for us. And therefore, they use these jobs as being means through which they can get more votes or so that they can get back to us. So what we are telling them is that you have not complied with the Constitution, with the law, and you must look back. And going forward, you'll have to comply. Otherwise, we'll have to employ some punitive measures. That one we are thinking of, and that's part of the recommendation.
But let me ask you this, Dr. Ari. Look, you said 98% of the people in Bomet are from one ethnic community.
Yes.
98%. Where are they going to hire the other people from? There's that 2%. Where are they going to get it from?
No, what we are saying is they should have, because I wrote to them and I reminded them. Okay? So what they should have done is when they were considering employment, they know that there are Kenyans, whether in Bomet or in the neighboring counties or in other counties, the whole of Kenya, because this is a public resource. And therefore, it shouldn't go to just one community. When they know that, and at the same time, they decide not to comply, then obviously, they cannot do that with impunity. And this is what we are going to do is to work with them moving forward and see what is it that made you not comply. And once we know that, then what is the remedy? And that's what we are going to do, part of the recommendations that
we want to have.
But Waziri,
is that even conceivable that, you look outside and you look for, there's some people in Nairobi County or some people in Kiambu or some people in Nakuru. Let me bring them over to Bomet. Is that even possible?
It's very possible. But when we included this rule that 30% must be from the rest of the country, we left it to the ingenuity of the employing agencies within the counties. And I'm sure you are aware that the public service institutions in a number of counties are not even effective as well. Yeah. So employment decisions are made by the executive in the county. And the executive in the county gives priority to re-election so that they serve their 2 terms. Yeah. It is not difficult to implement. But if the outcome indicates it is difficult to implement, we can expand on that rule. We can work out on the employment structure for most of the counties and put a level from which the 30% should be able to come. And then we can be able to make a provision that within these categories, you must hire 30% from the rest of the republic. Because there are some categories in every county where no county has all the competent people, where no county has all the qualified people. But because of pressure to employ for the sake of employment, they are not identifying the high-performance Kenyans who are actually available. But the way they advertise the jobs, there is no indication anywhere that they expect applicants from the rest of the country. And for particular jobs or functions, they will give priority to the rest of Kenya.
Because we are tribal.
Exactly. Now, that is another thing that we have to address. Tribe. Tell me, we are intermarrying now. Married to a white, married to a Kikuyu, married to a Turkana, and so. To which tribe do those other products belong? So we should get rid of the word tribe.
That's so easier said than done.
Yes.
Because that's our DNA.
Please, it is our DNA, but it goes by what the leaders themselves want. How did Tanzania do it? They did it. They have so many ethnic groups. Yes. Kenya also has so many ethnic groups, except the top 6 are so many that the rest are being forgotten, right? So you have 50% in the top 4 or 5 tribes, right? You have a whole other 50% in the rest of the 40 tribes of Kenya. You are not considering them. Yet, the genius that God gives Kenyans is allocated through all the communities, subject, of course, to the basic training that should be available in all our county. You will remember we made a provision for an equalization fund, which should be used to bridge the gap between the disparities in development in the rest of the public. So we should be gearing toward, at leadership level, we should be gearing towards getting our best from every county in this republic. And that our best should have an opportunity to demonstrate capacity, to demonstrate performance, productivity, competitiveness, which is what Kenya needs to compete globally with the rest of the world.
Absolutely. Reverend Doctor, I saw you nodding.
Yes, absolutely. And I really, as Waziri has said, while we could say that tribalism is our DNA, at the same time, we have these counties who have complied. They are part of Kenyans. Our constitution is very clear. And I think what it takes now is for us to be very intentional about being integrated and being cohesive as Kenyans. And I think it will be better for every county to have that diversity, to have that inclusiveness, because in fact, some of the positions that even Waziri has referred to, and this is what we wanted to do to help the counties to know at these countries, when we wanted to come up with a way and even a formula of how these jobs are going to be advertised. We can say for this country actually is preserved for that % of others other than the dominant ethnic community here. If we do that, then when it comes the time of advertising, then Kenyans will know that in Bomet, I can have access to the job K, whatever the number is, and then apply. Secondly, the County Public Service Authority, we are recommending to them that really they have now to wake up, because they also they have to have a part, they have to play a part here, because they should have alerted the governor at the time of employment, because they are the ones like the Public Service Commission at the national level. And so working together with them, what we are going to do is not just, condemn all these, counties that have not complied, but is to say, okay, we have contravened the Constitution here. But going forward, we wanted to rectify that. How can we do it? So we work with them, we work with the Senate, because the Senate is overall oversights the counties. The Senate also, we are telling the Senate that you also have really to wake up now. This is a wake-up call. Our findings are a wake-up call to Kenyans and to the institutions and to the government and all those oversighting institutions like Senate and the counties, and then say together, how do we do it? Then the Council of Governors. Also, we have to have a multi-agency approach to how we are going to rectify this, because, Jeff, there is no, I mean, devolution is the next most important thing after declaration of independence of Kenya. And we want devolution to succeed. We cannot afford to fail.
Yeah.
For it to succeed, areas like this of employment and the inclusivity have to succeed. If they don't succeed, then we are failing.
Waziri, let me ask you this. Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this. The counties have to attract the employment, if that's the case.
Yes.
They have to attract the employment.
Yes.
Who wants to go to Nyamira?
Many Kenyans would want to do so.
To do what?
Wait. If a county finds that it does not achieve the objective of the 30%, right, it should then take the next step of identifying the jobs and professions within the county to which they should recruit from the rest of Kenya. Recruiting from the rest of Kenya would mean getting the best from Kenya to come to your county. Once they identify those positions, then advertisements for employment in those positions would exclude the county residents and would be directing their attention to getting the best from the rest of Kenya. They will then be able to achieve the 30% objective. If a county remains narrow-minded to think in terms of the county membership, I don't want reference to tribal. I would rather county and regions instead of tribal.
Yeah.
Because we have a big group that belong to no tribe. So it is time we stop referring to tribe. We should be referring either to regions or to the counties. If the county has decided which category of jobs or which jobs they should have participants from the rest of Kenya. For instance, if you have 5 accountants, why must they all come from your county?
Yes.
Because they voted for you.
Because they voted for you.
Right.
So you are just doing employment as a political measure, not for productivity, not for performance, not for competitiveness.
Yeah.
Because the kind of creativity that we require from your county, you cannot have all the talents in your county. You need talents from the rest of Kenya to come and strengthen capacity in your county so that Kenya in total will be competitive globally and would be able to provide leadership recognizable not only in the East African community, but possibly the continent in Africa.
Exactly, and that is,
and those things are possible.
In our lifetime?
It
Yes,
is,
yes,
please
Jeff,
don't
it
talk
is
of our
possible.
lifetime. It is the objective, it is the values which are then accepted and people believe in our country that matters in the manner in which we go into the future as a country with preference on performance, on productivity, on competitiveness, on creativity in competition against the rest of the world.
Waziri, all that is unrealistic.
No,
Reverend Doctor, help me here.
Look here, Jeff. We always talk of the richness and the joy of diversity of Kenyans. And this is what I think Waziri is saying.
At the national level, yes.
Even at the county level, even if you have people of that, the dominant ethnic community, being able to do all this other work, it will be richer if you have people from other parts of the country. And you asked who wants to go to Nyamira. You have teachers who are not Kisi in Nyamira. You have police who are not Kisi.
From Kakamega.
You know.
In Mandera.
Yes.
Yes.
They're Luyas.
Yes.
I don't want to use Luyas, but there are people from Western Province
Yes.
working in Mandera.
Yeah, because if you
Teachers.
if the civil servants, you know, who are posted there, they are there, then it means that as a county, we can still have others who are not teachers or police people, police men and police women, to work in Nyamira. So it's doable, and it must be encouraged. And we can do it during our time, Jeff.
You think it can happen?
Oh, yes, it can.
Okay, look.
It must happen.
This And again, you know, it's a great picture, a very utopian picture that you paint. But these tribal cocoons that we exist in.
How did you make them?
We made them by teaching our children to be tribal.
Stop teaching your children to be tribal.
Yes.
Stop teaching the children right from primary
yes.
through secondary up to university.
Yeah.
Stop teaching the children to be tribal.
Yeah.
Teach them to be productive.
And to be Kenyans.
Yes.
You know, because we
and they will be productive when they have access to meet the best from the rest of Kenya,
exactly,
right within their counties.
And especially the younger generation and the intermarriage that we have talked about. My daughter is married to Kipsigis. What do they call what do their children call themselves? It's not
Which
a Mero
tribe?
or a Kipsigis. It's Kenyan. Yes, you ask them, they say we are Kenyans. Okay? And that is already beginning to show that actually we can change that mindset and teach children to be tribal, teach them to be national. Not even national, to be citizens of the world.
Yeah.
Because the competition that Waziri is referring to is not just Kenya here, is not just East Africa, is actually global. And that is where Kenyans then can grow knowing that we are citizens of the world, not of this cocoon. And as you mentioned, and this is one thing we really wanted to emphasize here, if we are not careful, then counties will become ethnic enclaves, ethnic cocoons.
Inefficient.
Inefficient, and they will defeat what the Constitution envisaged for Kenya. And part of it is this in employment. So, because you can have a child born in County A, go to school from primary school to secondary school, even to university, they have never been outside of that. That world view of just a small, tribe there is dangerous. These people should not have any place in the society of 21st century.
Okay, but Waziri, look, the balkanization that has happened in this country. For instance, let's say I got a job in County X, and I walk in, and 99% of the people are speaking in their own language. And that's what they do. First of all, they cut you off, and you feel isolated, and you feel non-productive at the end of the day, because these people, they don't even consider you as anything because you're not part of them.
Because the leadership in that county is thinking like their people. They are not thinking of a better county and a better Kenya. No, they are thinking of their people. So they are enclosed in local politics. But we are thinking now in terms of employment in Kenya, performance in Kenya, productivity of Kenyans. How did the Japanese come here to beat us? I went to Japan to look at how they do their things. Productivity is emphasis. High performance standards is emphasis. You will only achieve those when you allow the best from Kenya to reach every county and enhance those standards in those counties. It is not utopia. No. It appears utopia for you now because the leadership has not set its intention to implement it. Once the leadership decides to implement it, Tanzania did it. Kenya will even do it better. Because Kenya has a higher recognition of international challenge than any of those other countries. With that recognition, Kenyans would perform better right from the counties to the national level to the rest of the world.
Exactly. You have mentioned a situation which might appear as it's hypothetical, but it is actually real.
Very realistic.
There is, and I will not name the county, where a person from the dominant, from an ethnic community other than the dominant was employed. And sometimes when they go to the staff meeting, they switch to the vernacular. So of course, as you say, they feel excluded.
Yeah.
And that is something which must be discouraged. So he approached us as NCIC. We had to talk to the governor and say, this is against the law in Kenya. The national language is English and the Kiswahili. And if it becomes necessary for a person who does not speak, understand English or Kiswahili, there will be a formal interpretation of it. You know, they had to take back this person back to work because, and that's what must happen. And that is where we are encouraging all those who experience what we have said. They can come to us as NCIC and then working with the AACC, because these have to do with leadership and integrity. And where we want really to emphasize is that politicians must also wear the hat of a leader and a patriotic leader as, in that case, so that they cannot really undermine the Constitution, you know, with impunity.
Correct.
And that is where, if we encourage that, I'm sure, and we'll be able to monitor. And this is what we are going to say. One of the recommendations we have made here is that each county should have a minority register. You know, what are people in those who are minorities? And as we are saying, you know, these should be fellow Kenyans. How are they experienced? And we have a regular reporting of how they are doing. So we work with the county government, we work with the county public service authority, we work with the EACC, and we work with the other commissions or independent offices that have a mandate to see to it that the counties are really doing what is required to do so that devolution can be successful.
Gentlemen, I want to take a quick break, come back and ask you a question. You see these 13 counties that have complied. Why not reward them? Why don't have a reward scheme? You know, it's the thought. It's the thought.
We would.
And also, how realistic is this, Waziri? I mean, you, in your time, you saw the tribalism that was rampant in your time.
You see...
hold the thought. Hold the thought. What do you think? Is this realistic, this ethnic balance? Is it realistic? I don't know. Maybe. What do you think? Is there ethnic bias when it comes to employment?
Get rid of that belief of being realistic. Realistic is what you know. We are talking of the clear objective is what is realistic.
Lakini kwa ground mambo ni different.
How do you change the
mambo ni tofauti?
How do you change the ground?
Yes. We have to change the ground.
How do you change the ground?
By changing the top.
Leadership with the vision as to where Kenya should be going.
Yes.
The fish rots from the head.
Yes. So change that head.
Keep tweeting at Koinangaja, at Citizen TV. The hashtag is JKLive. JKLive takes a break. We'll be back. Change that head.
Yes.
He said